The chapter begins with the butler waking his young master up. As he gets the kid dressed, he tells him about his schedule for the day. We then see the butler finding a martial artist. What the hell? We go from the butler helping his master get ready for the day to the butler finding a martial artist in 3 pages. This is one of the weirdest transitions in a manga ever. Anyway, the butler wins and tells his young master to do his lessons as promised since he won the fight. Here's where we learn that the butler's name is Sebastian Michaelis and his young master is C.L. Fanaheim. We're also introduced to the rest of the Fanaheim servants. Fanny the gardener, Mayrin the housemaid, Balroy the chef, and Tanaka the house steward. CL is disappointed since he went all that trouble to find an expert in Chinese martial arts. However, he does hand Sebastian a cold drink. You know, this is the only time that I recall that CL is somewhat kind towards the butler, heck, to any of his servants. I said somewhat. After finishing the drink, the butler gets after Finny, Mayrin, and Balroy for hanging around instead of working. Once the 3 are gone, CL tells Sebastian that he has gotten a call from a man from Italy named Klaus. Apparently this Klaus fellow is coming to England and is coming over to talk business. Understanding the situation, Sebastian goes to prepare everything for Klaus's arrival. Seeing the butler doing his work, Finny, Mayrin, and Balroy are inspired to do their best. However, Balroy burns the meat with a flamethrower, Finny destroys the lawn, and Mayrin slams into the cupboard, which causes the tea sets to break. Judging by Sebastian's reaction, this isn't the first time these 3 screwed something up. So if this is a common occurrence, then why haven't these 3 been fired? As Sebastian tries to think of how to save this, he comes up with something when he sees the cup that Tanaka is holding. He tells the others to listen up and follow his instructions exactly. We then see Klaus arriving at the manor where he's greeted by CL and his servants. Sebastian leads their guest and CL to the courtyard so the 2 can discuss business while waiting for their dinner. Once there, the Italian compliments on how beautiful the courtyard is. He then hands CL the game that the boy had requested. Apparently this is the real reason why he's visiting. Wait, that logo looks like the Nintendo logo. And this game is for the Game Guy Advance? Don't tell me, it's a parody of the Nintendo Game Boy Advance. Isn't this manga set during the 1800s? During their talk, we learned 3 things about CL. First thing is that he is 12 years old. Second, his family is in the toy making business. And third, he made his family business number 1 in the country. Just then, Sebastian serves dinner. Once seeing the food, Klaus is confused about the dish before him. The butler describes the dish, but really he's being a ham. Mayrin then brings out some wine. However, she is reminded by the butler to pour a glass for their guest. Due to getting some attention from Sebastian, the maid gets distracted and accidentally pours the wine on the tablecloth. Before Klaus notices the spill, Sebastian removes the cloth without disturbing the items on top of it. The Italian praises about the butler's skills to the young Fanaheim. The chapter ends with the 2 having dessert. Let me start off by saying that I felt like something was missing when I first read this chapter and didn't know what. So, after reading this chapter again and watching its anime counterpart, I realized what was missing. There wasn't any supernatural element. In its episode counterpart, we see a different guest arriving at the manor whose main reason for visiting CL was to scam him. However, before he could see it through, things begin to happen to him like in the board game that he played with CL. After believing that he saw a ghost, he falls and breaks his leg, and then accidentally crawls into an oven where Sebastian scares him by implying that he will use him for a pie. Somehow the guest manages to leave the manor screaming. In this chapter, Klaus and CL just talk and have dinner. I have to say I like this chapter a little bit more than its episode counterpart. Don't get me wrong, I like how creepy that episode is. However, I like seeing moments like this where CL isn't dealing with the supernatural or on a mission for the queen. Also, in my opinion, starting this manga off like this is a good way to ease readers in, especially when the series gets really dark. But I do see some people may find this chapter boring. As for the characters, we don't learn much about them, but we do get a little bit of an idea. Finny, Mayrin, and Balroy aren't the greatest servants, but you can tell that their hearts are in the right place when they try to help or try their best when doing their job. Sebastian, on the other hand, is great at his job and seems to be more serious than the other servants. However, he does have his silly moments. Then there's Tanaka. From this chapter alone, it's hard to describe him other than an old man, since he hardly does anything. As for CL, he's very mature for his age, but he can be a little impish. We learn near the beginning of the chapter that he's the head of the family, but we don't know anything about his parents or where they are. For all we know, they're doing business overseas or they're very ill. However, we do learn where his parents are later in the series. That's all I have to say about this chapter. So, I'll see you next time on Read Little by Little.